Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. I know it's mid-December, it's not even Christmas, but we have one final Chanel collection to talk about before the end of the year. This is Spring Summer 2025, if you can believe it. I know it feels a bit early. Last year around this time, I think is when we had the Winterly Beige collection that took everyone by surprise. I am so excited for this because it is so much better than what I was expecting. Yesterday, I ran to the Miami Design District boutique, and even though I only purchased a few pieces, I was able to get video and swatches of everything. My overall first impression, just based on looks and the color story, is that it is ideal for spring summer. Very wearable, effortless shades. We still have some of the pastel candy jewel tones that we typically see from Chanel for spring, but it's very practical. Do you remember seeing these images floating around the internet and the rumor was this was the spring collection? I am so happy we have this instead. And for all of those Chanel lovers who weren't wild about the holiday collection this year, I heard mixed reviews. Some people loved it. Some people felt like it was just a skip this time around. I think this launched in perfect time to go ahead and add to your holiday wish list, potentially. It's rolling out to the beauty boutiques now. As soon as it launches online, I will share updates. Let me go ahead and show you what I purchased. Let's start by unboxing the main palette. This is another oversized compact. It's called Jeux de Lumiere, the multi-use eyeshadow and highlighter palette. These shades are absolutely beautiful. They feel a bit drier, more powdery to the touch, very sheer, very luminous shades for face and eyes. Reminds me a bit of, at least one eyeshadow palette comes to mind. I'm gonna have to go through my collection to pull out anything similar. You might not need any more highlighters in your collection, but you cannot deny that this is a very wearable, practical product. And I absolutely love using highlighter as eyeshadow, bronzer in the crease, get out the door. This is so perfect for a spring, summer, soft, very effortless, beautiful makeup look. I am always biased when it comes to Chanel because I love the brand, but I can already tell you I'm going to love this. We also have new shades of the Ombre Essential Multi-Use Long-Wearing Eyeshadow. I only picked up one. This is 248 Latte Frappe. Ooh, I love it, and it's matte. I love that this is a medium intensity matte. So earlier in the year, I picked up one of the deeper matte shadows, and I feel like now my single shadow collection from Chanel is just about complete. The only shade I'm missing would be a light creamy matte or potentially a medium metallic, in which case I could just use the highlighter palette. So I really feel like this adds something that I needed to my Chanel eyeshadow collection. I already own a ton of similar shades to this, but not from Chanel. In most of my quads, they're usually luminous or satin finish, not a pure matte like this. So there are 4 new single eyeshadows, 250 Mauve Sucré. This is a really pretty light pastel purple. 252 Pêche Glacé. I swatched the Pêche Glacé and compared it with the Rose Gold highlighter shade. I felt like they were pretty comparable. And then 254 Menthe Aloe, a beautiful metallic green shade, but a little too close to the green that I picked up earlier in the year. Instead, the green product I was interested in is the Stylo You Waterproof in shade 90 Vert Lagoon. Green Lagoon, this is a really pretty, deep metallic green eyeliner, which I absolutely love the idea. I can just imagine sort of smoking this out along the lash line. There were 4 eyeliners in the display. I know at least one of them was a repeat or a re-promote. The other shade that I think is brand new is the Rouge. It looks very like warm brick red. Not a color that I was drawn to, but certainly a very interesting eyeliner shade. We have 2 new nail polish shades, a really pretty light green and then light orange. I decided to skip both of these, although I think they're very pretty, cute colors. They are so spring, summer, and I'm just mentally not there yet. So I couldn't quite get into these shades. Maybe it's something I'll revisit later on. And finally, 6 shades of the Rouge Coco Balm. I did swatch them all. Really pretty. This is just a sheer lip balm. Mostly candy colors, high shine. There was only one with a hint of gold shimmer, and that's this one, 752 Honey Bliss. This looks like the most beautiful sort of bronzy nude gold shimmer lip balm. I think this is definitely going to be the most popular I could not resist this. I'm trying not to buy any more lipsticks, lip glosses, lip balms, doesn't matter, but this was just too pretty to not bring home with me, and it just makes perfect sense with the other pieces that I picked up from the collection. So I have the highlighter eye palette, the brown matte eyeshadow, the green eyeliner, and then this on the lips. I think that is the perfect kind of bronze goddess summery makeup look. I'm going to start with Latte Frappe. I love the name of this eyeshadow, by the way, even though it does come with a sponge applicator in this tiny little dual side eyeshadow brush, which is so cute and probably nice if you have great dexterity, but a little bit too small. Great in a pinch, but we have the full size brushes here, so we might as well use them. And I'm just going to start by going in with this in the crease. Kind of my basic eyeshadow look. I don't think I've ever had a medium intensity brown matte eyeshadow from Chanel that I absolutely loved in any palette. I can't think of any. At least for eyes, this is the essential in my opinion, so I'm really excited about this. I was laughing yesterday at the boutique with Maurice, thinking about how at this time last year, I was cut off from shopping from Chanel. Do you remember? I had reached my limit. It turns out they are very strict with the number of products you're allowed to buy in a year. It must have been the Winter Les Beige collection. I think what put me over the number was the holiday sets. I had purchased all of them, and then I was cut off. I wasn't allowed to shop. I was much more careful this year with what I picked up from each collection, so that was not a problem. On one hand, I understand they probably want to decentivize resellers or anybody who's picking up multiples of those exclusive products. But at the same time, if I were having to restock all of my skincare or my fragrance, and then I like to pick up new pieces from the collection, if I wanted to buy makeup brushes, it's very easy to get to the limit. I want to say it's maybe 40 pieces, especially if you buy a lot of Chanel Beauty gifts for people throughout the year. Very easy to hit that number. Consequently, from dealing with that experience, I just didn't purchase as much this year, I guess. I'm sure I got close, but I didn't hit the limit. This is looking so beautiful, easy to blend, not patchy at all. It is the perfect color. It's not translating too warm on the skin. That was my one concern. I didn't want it to end up looking too warm and too orangey brown. But this looks like just a normal medium brown. I'm going to go ahead and buff this beneath the lower lash line as well. I thought about doing a full face of Chanel, but the problem is my skin is going through it at the moment. I made the fatal mistake of sort of doubling down on my tretinoin this week because we have a big holiday party this weekend. I wanted to make sure I didn't have any breakouts, so I've been really piling on the actives, and while I don't have any breakouts, my skin is drier than the Sahara Desert, and I had to redo my foundation twice before I sat down to film because every time I applied my foundation and concealer, it was just peeling off my face. The top layer of skin was just dry and cracked. It looked so bad. If I even attempted to film that process on camera, this video probably wouldn't have made it. I might end up doing a hydrating mask tonight and really doubling up on the moisturizer before I go to bed. Maybe apply a light layer of Aquaphor on my face. I don't know what I'm going to do. Lightly exfoliate. I definitely feel like this was one of those products that the Calmette's Collective, the makeup artists behind the collections, were probably like, no matter what we come out with for spring, we need a matte brown eyeshadow. I'm so pleased they brought us this one because it's a really great shade. At least from here, it appears to be the perfect neutral undertone as well. I love it. This was a necessity. I'm so happy they finally have something like this. Perfection. And now for the lid, of course, we're going to pop into the Jeux de Lumiere Multi-Use Eyeshadow Highlighter Palette. I'm going to go ahead and swatch all 4 shades just so you can see what they look like. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. I think all 4 shades look like you could easily just pop them on the center of the lid, get out the door. I have a feeling these are going to be best applied with fingers or maybe a flat shader brush, something synthetic. But I'm going to try with this old Chanel small eyeshadow brush. I'm going to start by picking up the cooler sandy tone. I think this is going to be optimal for the cheek. That would be a pretty cheek topper. This would also be great for the brow bone inner corner. So I want to try this one on the lid. I'm going to do my best to try all of them in some capacity. Yeah, it's nice. It's very light. And all of these powders, even the metallic single shadows, I could tell they're very sheer. Gorgeous. Very easy to apply, not overly glittery. It's going to look luminous. You know, it will reflect light. It will probably photograph really beautifully and look really nice in natural sunlight. But you don't have to worry about little glitter flecks flying all over the place. Let me go in with the deeper shade too. I want to see what this looks like. This I'm really just adding to the outer half. Stunning. I honestly feel like this collection was made for me. These are the colors that I always love to wear. Just to see if there's a difference, I'm going to try using my finger. You could also probably wet your brush if you wanted a bit more intensity. I think it's about the same. I'm not getting any fallout on the cheeks, no chunky glitter. I don't really want to do green in the waterline, so I'm going to try this Vert Lagoon smudged along the outer lash line on the top. It gives such a beautiful contrast to the neutrals. It's soft, subtle, not overly jewel toned, but it does give you a pop of something. A little something something. Using the little eyeshadow brush that came in my single shadow, I'm just smudging it out. There, that's really pretty. So if you want it to be less intense, you can always smudge it out. You could obviously stop with just the green eyeliner. I typically wear liquid eyeliner. If I'm doing eyeshadow and doing an eye look, I'm gonna do a little liquid liner. So I did my brown liquid liner the way I normally would. I curled my lashes, did some mascara, and this is the finished eye. You can still see the green popping through, but it's even softer and more subtle. And I think it looks really beautiful. I like the green slightly smudged out. With a precision brush, I'm picking up the pale shade down here, using that to highlight the inner corner of the eye. I applied a little on the brow bone as well. I feel like I can see it on the brow bone. I can't really see it in the inner corner as much. Very subtle on the inner corner. For the face, I'm going to start with this as a highlighter. I think that's sort of the obvious choice. Perfect. Very natural. The polar opposite of the holiday highlighter that came with that really chunky glitter overspray. And see, I haven't touched that highlighter since I filmed my holiday review because it is so glittery. But this just makes the cheek look wet. I love it. Mess up the makeup, so let's actually try the peach up here. I feel like this shade reminds me a lot of the Pesh or a lot of the peach highlighters that I already have. Yeah, very comparable to the oversized peach highlighters if you purchased anything from the Symbol de Chanel collection. Oh, it's so pretty though. See, that looks pretty on the cheek, not so much on the bridge of the nose. And I think the sandy beige up here, that would look really pretty as well. I'll put a little bit on my forehead. Yeah, perfect. That is probably the most subtle, actually, out of all of the shades. Just looks like your skin is luminous. I love that. And because it's more sheer, when you turn out of the light, you don't get that dimming effect. Seems like most brands are doing that with their highlighters now. They don't have a really opaque base and it just looks more skin-like. Finally, we have lips. The lip balm on its own is going to be incredibly sheer. I'll show you what it looks like. I'll do kind of a quick, pretty. You could throw it on, you could go, oh, it has that perfect frost. I love that. There's a very fine gold sheen to it. This is the Sephora collection, Creme de la Creme. 30% off right now, by the way, during Gifts for All events, which I have not shopped yet. And I might not shop at all. Sort of waiting until the absolute last day on the 15th to see if there's anything new that drops. Certainly don't need anything. You know, Bath and Body products, gifts, maybe some Sephora Collection Pro brushes. They're very creamy, so this is a nice base. And then I'll just go right on top. I love it. Will some people find the color story a bit boring? Probably. I think it's very wearable, it's very practical. As a neutral lover, I feel like these are pieces that I'm going to get a ton of use out of, which is really where I struggle getting excited about new makeup anymore. I absolutely love it. I think this was the perfect way to end 2024, to go out with a bang. And that completes my initial review. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm very excited to keep playing around with these pieces, especially once my skin recovers and it's not peeling like a snake. So we will definitely have more tutorials in the near future. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, leave me your comments, questions down below. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned that is available, and I will continue to update the description box as soon as the links come in. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.